Great. So we've started the recording. Terrific. So welcome to the Business Book Publishing Focus Group. I'm really glad to have people here and have people that are interested in the recording afterwards. I anticipate we're going to spend probably 45 minutes to an hour together, and my goal is for it to be interactive, so feel free to ask questions, post questions in the chat if you don't want to come on and ask the questions, and I'll try to keep up with the chat. But you just unmute yourself. If you haven't been on Zoom before, there's a little mic that you just click on and it'll unmute you. You're welcome to have your video on if you want to be seen by everyone, and if you don't want to be seen, that's cool too. So let's get started. So I wanted to just kind of do let's see if I can get my slides to move. So can you see the slides that I'm sharing?
Yes.
Okay.
I can. Okay.
Great. Do you just see one big slide, or do you see, make sure you, I have two screens, so I'm hoping that you're just seeing my one slide and not all.
Yeah, beautiful here, Donna.
Okay,
just the
great.
one large slide.
Great. Hi, Mary. So we're just getting started, and hopefully I'll be able to talk through this whole thing. I wanted to just have everyone have a chance to intro yourself, tell us where you are, your name, and what brought you here today, what you're kind of looking to get out of the day. And Susan, if we can start with you, that would be great, and then we'll just kind of go around our small group. So thanks.
Okay, great. Hi, Donna, everyone. I'm Susan Jankowitz, and I live in Sparta, and my craft, if you will, is technical writing. And Donna, I believe I met you several years ago, and we had a little bit of a meeting together, and I remembered you and learned about your book and your company and your presentation. So what brings me here today is just the learning from you. So thank you for that. I know we all appreciate it. So just excited to be here.
Great, thanks. Thanks. Lisa, do you want to intro yourself? I can see your name, but I can't see you. Give you a second to unmute yourself if you're interested in saying hello to everyone. That would be great. All right, so we'll move on. Mary, we just have to unmute you. Let's see, I can unmute you. There you go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mary, and I'm in near Baltimore, Maryland. And I met Donna a number of years ago when the Angels guided me to work with her for coaching, business coaching. And when I saw this, I really feel like my next step is I have a book of prayer that I'm almost done with, and I've been almost done with for a long time, but I think I need to move that forward going into 2019. So I'm excited to be here.
Great. It's great to have you here, Mary. Mary.
I think I finally got unmuted.
Okay, great.
Hi, I'm Lisa. Sorry about that. I was trying to find the unmute button. My name is Lisa Blaylock. I'm currently living in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. And I've been a consultant and working as an entrepreneur for a number of years, and have considered in the last year or so writing a book. Honestly, have no idea what to do. So this was well-timed and welcome from my perspective. So I appreciate the opportunity to learn what you've done and get some tips and thoughts and ideas as I go forward.
Great. Well, thanks. It's great to have you here, Lisa. We haven't seen each other in years now, but my dad was from Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Yeah, I love Cedar Rapids. It's a nice town.
I don't know much about it, so I know we were there once when we were kids. And great, thanks. And Mary is,
yes.
I was going to actually meet Mary in person a couple of years ago. I was driving to pick up a kayak for my daughter, and on Google it looked like it was going to be like a little 6-hour drive, and as I was passing Baltimore, I was calling Mary saying, I'm not going to make it, I'm not going to make it. She said, well, may the angels be with you. And so I drove down to, I don't know, someplace in Virginia to pick up this kayak, got it on the car, turned around, drove back. So what looked like a 12-hour drive turned into a 19-hour drive that I did by myself. And there was a point when I got back in Jersey where I said, okay, Mary, I need the angels right now. And I swear they were there. They kept me going. So
Cool.
So, well, thanks everybody for being here. So I wanted to let you know, okay, there we go. Come on, move along there. There is a handout for today, and you don't need it right now. It's not, it's kind of my gift to you for being here, and it's a content development workbook. So it's the compassroseconsulting.com and FGB, Focus Group Books is what that FGB. Just wanted to make it a small link for you. So just jot that down. And my site is set up as a, it'll look like you're buying it, but it's free. And then it'll give you access to it right in the members area. So, so just a little bit about me. My company is Compass Rose Consulting. This is my big why I do business, is so that I have time freedom and just time to be with my family, and raise 2 incredible daughters that are bigger than that now. They're both teenagers, but it's one of my favorite pictures. And I know we all have different reasons for being in business. One of the things that I've done in my business is to write several books, and I'm going to kind of during this workshop tell you a little bit about those books and that journey. And this is my newest book, Business Profit Breakthroughs, and we're going to talk about why to have a book as part of your business. My company mission is kind of shifted in the last year to focus on working with women in business or womenpreneurs, and help them fall in love with the marketing part of their business and be successful in their business. And we're just launching a Womenpreneurs Growth Group, which is a mastermind group. So you'll start seeing, if you're following me, everything is kind of shifting a little bit. We do have a Visionary Womenpreneurs Facebook group that I'll send you the link for. You're welcome to join. That's just a group of, right now there's about 55 women in there, and we're having conversations about business growth strategies. And I upload some documents in there. People ask a question, I'm like, oh, I've got that, and I'll upload it. So it's gonna, I'm hoping it'll be a very vibrant group of women that have big visions for their businesses and want to kind of come together to share that with other women. So why publish a book? So for me, the reasons that I think it makes sense for a business to publish a book are that it gives you credibility in your field. It can increase your speaking opportunities, and you get that recognition as an author. And, you know, so just all of those things can help in your business growth. So I see it as a business growth strategy. So it can become a business card. I should have had some of my books down here so I could hold them up. But you can, like that Business Profit Breakthroughs book, it's a small book, so your book doesn't have to be a big book. And I can just give it away to people if I want to do that. And the strategy that I teach for publishing a book makes just about every book affordable for you as the author to give away to somebody. So you can use it as your business card. provides more info to your prospect about what you know. You know, like when you go out networking, you have that 30-second intro opportunity, and you know, you can do whole workshops on how to craft your 30 seconds. But this gives people more information about all the things you do, because sometimes in that 30 seconds you haven't said the thing that your prospect actually needs, but then they start looking at your book and it's like, ah, that's what I need. So it can be helpful in that way. When you're self-publishing a book, and we'll talk about self-publishing versus regular publishing, you can add a call to action at the end of the book, and it can, you know, it can be more than a brochure because it's got more content. And a book should provide value to the prospect. So you want that book to give them more information about you. If you're a speaker or you're trying to get into that speaking field, a speaker with a book gets booked more than a speaker without a book in general. You know, unless you're like such a big name that your name gets you booked. But if you're competing with the thousands of other speakers out there, the book helps you stand out. And when you have a book that you can send to an event planner, like that helps you stand out, because then they've got it right in their hand and they're like, oh yeah, this really fits. From the business side of it, you can sell that book at the back of the room, or you can sell it to the event planner as part of your speaking fee. You know, so you can set your speaking fee up. My fee is $5,000, and that includes 100 books. Or, you know, so there's different ways to position your book with an event planner. You can offer it to an event planner as, you know, my fee is $3,000, and I can give you the books at a discount of $10 each. So they can buy a book for each person. So different ways of looking at that book for event planners and how you can use it for them. And you can use it for lead generation. So this book, Yes, Marketing Works, it's available on my website for sale. It's also available, like on that link, it's a free download. You know, so I use it as a lead generation tool primarily, but I also have print copies. Not on my shelf right now, but oh yeah, there's one. So, you know, so it's actually a print book that I can take to an event planner, or I can take to a networking event. I could give it away. I can auction, you know, I can say, you know, everybody give me your business card. I'll give one of these away. So lots of ways you can use your book to get leads for people, from people. So how to publish. So any questions so far? Any thoughts, comments? Cool. So one of the things that I forgot to say this in the beginning is, like, I encourage you to, like, as you're listening, like, to write down the ideas that come to you about, like, your business. Don't write down what I say, because it's not all that important. It's like what it makes you think of that is important for your business, and how it can help your business. So 4 ways to publish a book. And actually, last night I saw a 5th way, but I haven't really looked at it yet. So, but print, obviously, is the first way that we're all familiar with. Ebooks. So now there's a bazillion ebook platforms that you can publish to. Audiobooks are great because people like listening to books in their car on the drive, especially if you're here, like in New Jersey, where the drives are long and the traffic is bad. An ebook can help keep you awake, or audiobook can help keep you awake, can be interesting, you can learn something. I know that I've listened to several audiobooks and training programs, and like you start feeling like you know the person after a while because they're riding in the car with you so much. And then the last is a video book. And so you could publish your book on video. I would probably only do that if it was a short book, but you might publish it in chapters and release it kind of as a series if it was a longer book. I would say the audiobook and ebook and print are the three primary. So the multiple platforms, come on, move, there we go. Just increase exposure, give people different ways to engage with you and access your material, and can increase your purchasing, and then just meets a variety of needs from different buyers. So the buyer that doesn't have time to sit down and read a book but will listen to it is only going to do it if it's available on audio. You know, so you just want to think about those different ways of doing it. So publishing, self-publishing versus a publishing house. The pros of self-publishing: you get to retain all the rights and control. You have a higher profit on sales. You can sell to a meeting planner and still make money. You control the look and the feel of your book. You control the content, and you have a lower cost per book. So when I order a book, my cost is lower than if I do it through a publishing house. So the publishing house, that gives you the publisher's imprint, which gives you more credibility. You know, so there's still a perception that self-publishing isn't good. I think that's shifting some because there's so many people that are self-publishing, and there's ways to do it to overcome that publisher imprint. The publisher may do some marketing of your book, but you still have to market your book when it comes down to it. Unless you're like a big name, there's not a lot of marketing that the publisher is going to do. And then the perceived credibility. So there's a perception that there's more credibility with the publishing house. So with self-publishing, you do have to do all the marketing and promotion yourself. I mean, you can outsource that to a PR firm or a marketing firm. And the author cost is lower, and you have the ability to mark up your book. With the publishing house, you're going to do most of the marketing and promotion. The publisher retains most of the profit, and the author cost per copy is higher. So this, for me, I work with a publishing coach myself, and he has his first book, when I started working with him, had sold 300,000 copies. And he was excited to get picked up by a big publisher, Wiley, here in Jersey, and he wrote his second book. When the second book came out, he hated the cover. They wouldn't let him do what he wanted with the cover. His cost per book, I think the book sells for $24.95. I have it somewhere here, but I think it's $24.95. I think his author cost was like $19.95. And he promoted it for that year when it first came out. And now I see him promoting his first book for his speaking gigs, because he gets paid probably $10,000, between $5,000 and $10,000 a speaking gig. And he will include the book, but his cost per book with his self-published book, his are hardcover, is probably $5. So he can mark it up to $10 for a meeting planner and still make $5 a book. Or he can sell it back of the room for $15 and still make money on the book. So for me, that really highlighted, like, as a business strategy, for my business, self-publishing makes sense. For you, you have to decide whether self-publishing makes sense or not. But getting picked up by a publishing house is hard to do. There's also people that will self-publish. There was a local author here that her novels, the first one she self-published, she did a huge book signing tour up and down the East Coast and sold 5,000 copies and then got picked up by a publisher. And so self-publishing can lead to a publisher as well. So you can do it kind of either way. Questions or thoughts about publishing? Whoop, Mary, you're muted. Do you want, here, I can unmute you.
Thank you. Because I'm not touching anything, so I don't know how to get muted. But anyway,
Okay.
With the self-publishing, when you said, you know, the cost to self-publish was $5 a book, that's what the author pays
Yes.
to self-publish that versus the $19 for the published version
Yes.
to get that. Oh, that's crazy.
Yep. So I work with my mom. She's an author, and she's published 6 books, I think, right now. We're working on 3 more right now. So she worked with like a little boutique publisher. They did all the layout. I think she paid them probably close to $2,000 to do the layout of her book. They listed on Amazon. They did the ISBN number. She has their publisher imprint in the book, and she paid extra for them to list it to convert it to an ebook, and she paid them to do a press release, and I think she was listed in a magazine. I don't think she sold 1 book through that.
Oh my. Wow.
All of that. Now she wants to make changes to that book. We don't have the final edited version in a Word doc. We have it in a PDF.
Wow.
So you lose that kind of control. Like they
Yeah.
have all of that.
Wow.
And we don't have that now. So to go back and, like, we have it in a Word doc, but we would have to go through and re-edit the book because we don't have the final edited version of the
Wow.
book anymore. So she's left it there because it just seems like too much.
Yeah.
Too much work to pull it back, you know, and redo it. So you lose that kind of control. Now, some people don't want that kind of control, or, you know, want somebody else to do all that.
Right.
You know, and that's fine. You know, you can, even if you self-publish, you can hire someone to do the layout and that kind of stuff. You can hire an editor, you can hire somebody to do the layout, but you just want to have all those final documents, not in a PDF version, but in a version that you can edit. Now, I can convert that PDF, but it's going to convert and it's going to bring in the footer. I would have to go through and delete every footer because it'll bring it in just into the document, not into the footer.
Right.
You know, so every page number I'm going to, you know, so again, it just means that you're
a lot of work. Yeah.
doing a lot of work to get the control of it back. So you just have to think about whether that's a good way to do it.
Right.
So my first book, so we're going to move on to content unless anybody has more about publishing. Well, publishing will keep coming up, but. Right, so Mary, I'm going to mute you. Just raise your hand if you want to say
Okay.
something.
Okay.
So my first book was Launching Your Dreams. It's about my cross-country bike ride back in the 90s. So it's how you take an idea and make it happen. I worked with a company, Vervante, that published the book, and we created an information product as well. So that's the picture of the info product. It had CDs and cool stuff in it. I'm actually working with them right now for a client on it's not exactly a book project, but so this book is now in its 3rd edition. So one of the things that you can do with a book is you can re-release that book with a new chapter or add a couple of new chapters, and you can redo your whole book launch, book promotion. So you don't have to rewrite or you don't have to write a new book, is what I'm saying. You can have one book in your business that's kind of the center of your business and re-release it every couple of years. So I moved it from Vervante, took it back, improved the content, improved the cover. It increases the publication credibility, increases speaking opportunities. The cover totally changed. So the first cover was more of like the future dream vision, the sailboat, didn't have anything to do with what was in the book. So now it's the final cover is this one on the top here with the bike. And so more relevant to the book. Did the same thing with my coaching book. So this was a book for HR people on how to coach staff for success. And I changed this to better fit the keywords that were coming up in search results. So employee coaching was ranking higher than coaching staff. And so and I added a couple of chapters to that book just to be able to release it again. So when you're thinking about your topic, like you want to think about, like, does it help your business if it's going to be part of your business? And so there's 2 ways that I see a book connected to business. So I have worked with some people where the book is the business. So my mom is a good example. That's her business. She's an author. She writes books. She has a poetry book. She has a music book. She has a novel. She has memoir. She has all these different types of books. No 2 books are in the same genre. So the books are her business. That's her primary business. She does some speaking, but not much because she's 85, but she does a little bit of speaking every once in a while. And then the other way is the book supports your business. So you're in a business that a book is going to support. So that's the way I look at my books, is they support my business of coaching and helping people with their business marketing or their book marketing. So the books support that bigger business goal. So 2 ways to look at it. So this is really talking about like how you're going to use your book. Are you going to use it as a lead generation tool? Is it going to help you with your credibility, your expertise status? And do you have the information already that you can use to develop a book? So in that handout that's available for you, it really talks about how to develop content. I've used a couple of different ways for my own books in developing content. The Launching Your Dream book, that was really a teleclass. Back when I first started my business and I connected with a company and they said, we want you to do a teleclass for us. And I had been on a couple teleclasses, but I'd never done a teleclass, and I was panicked. So I scripted out the entire teleclass. And probably if we listened to it now, we'd be like, oh my God, that was terrible. Because it probably just sounds like somebody sitting there reading the script. But what I found was, by doing that, scripting out an hour and a half teleclass, I had this long document that I flushed out. And the first edition of Launching Your Dreams is about, it's less than 100 pages, so it was small. So I took that script and I converted it into the book. So that's really how that book came. So you might look at what you've already done. The employee coaching book, that was a collection of articles that I had written on my blog about coaching staff and leadership and workplace kind of happiness. And I took all those articles, like there's probably 10 of them, 10 chapters, something like that, combined them and put it into a book, and then went back and edited it. Because with articles, parts of the articles were saying the same thing. They'd be slightly different topic or take on coaching staff, but so it took some editing to kind of make it flow well in a book. But there's certainly books. I'm in a couple books where there's, a chapter by a different author. Each chapter is a different author. So you could have topics that repeat to a certain extent. So there's certainly ways to take your own content and combine it into a book. Some people, I know people that do radio interviews, and they transcribe them and they publish them as books. So they hire somebody to transcribe it, they edit it, and they publish it. So another way to do it. And if you're not a writer, I think everybody on here is a writer today, but if you're not a writer, you can dictate it. And you can either dictate it and have it transcribed, or you can dictate it onto your computer and edit it. So most of our computers, with some training of the computer software, it'll transcribe as you talk. And so I know Dragon Naturally Speaking is a software you could buy that'll transcribe for you, and you just have to teach it to understand you. But again, that takes some editing work afterwards. And so all of those strategies, you're always going to have to edit. Even if you sit down and write it, handwrite it or type it on your computer, you're going to have to edit it afterwards. So part of writing is setting your deadline and making a decision that, yeah, I'm going to do this book and I've got a deadline for it, and then committing to that deadline and working on it. I always think if you tell people about a deadline, that increases your commitment to that action. So it's one of the things I talk about in my book, Launching Your Dreams. I started telling people I was biking across the country next summer, and all of a sudden people were training me how to ride long distance. Like it just increased the commitment just because I said it. And then people were like, oh, when are you leaving? Like all of a sudden you've put it out in the world. I'm writing a book. And then people will start asking you, oh, how's your book coming? And so it increases your commitment as soon as you tell people about it. I think it's better than writing it down. Tell 3 people about it. So the content planner has a strategy for writing your book in 30 days. And so that sounds like 30 days, Donna, you're crazy. But if you commit to the plan in there, you can actually do it. If you think back to grade school when we used to have to outline, I think we're all old enough on this call to remember outlining, and you had you'd outline something. So in a book, one strategy for writing a book is to create an outline. So you start with the 10 chapters, and then you take each chapter and you outline like the main points in that chapter. And then you can go back and you can write, you can take point 1 and write your 3-4 paragraphs on point 1, point 2. You know, so you can chunk it down so it's not like today I'm going to go work on like this chapter, the first 5 points of it. You know, so it doesn't have to be like, book sounds so overwhelming, undoable. But when you break it down into pieces and you start like, I'm just working on these stories. So I have a book I'm working on where it's like little vignettes of part of our story. So I can just go, like I have an outline of the different pieces. And to work on the book, I don't have to work on the whole thing. I can just go work on this one little story that is maybe 2 or 3 pages long. You know, so you can break it down. And if you do those little pieces every day, a little piece every day, you're getting up the mountain. It actually like starts becoming a book. So when you're looking at your title, you want to think about keywords, you know, just from a marketing perspective. Keywords are everywhere, and they're going to help your book to sell, and they're going to help people find your book. So before you title the book, you want to do some research on the keywords, and then your keywords just need to be everywhere that your book goes. The title, the description, everywhere. So before we move on to marketing, any questions or thoughts about content? Mary, you're bouncing around. I can't tell if you wanted to say something.
Oh, I was just turning my paper from writing. Sorry, I was bouncing.
Make us all like, ah.
What?
All right, so marketing, the big piece. So you can have a book that doesn't sell at all. And there's probably millions of those books out there and available. And so there's a bunch of pieces to marketing your book. And some of the pieces that I see are the title and the keywords. Then you're going to have your author profiles, and you can have author profiles kind of all over the internet, but at least on Amazon, you want that author profile. And, you know, so if you go on Amazon and look at a book and look at the author, a good author has filled out their profile. And when you go and you find your author profile on Amazon to fill out, you'll see that there's all sorts of things you can do on that profile. You know, so you can pull your blog posts into it, you can pull videos into it. There's a lot of functionality that Amazon has built into that profile. You can post your events if you're speaking, where you're going to be, where you're speaking, if you're doing book signings, that can all go on your author profile. So minimally, you need an author profile on Amazon. Book signings and book parties are good to do, and there's great strategies for how to do those types of events and pull people into them. Book reviews, important to have book reviews that are legit book reviews, not bought book reviews. So there's a whole market out there where you can buy reviews from people, and it's not a good idea. So on Amazon, you know that you can look at reviews, and some are verified buyers. That's because they bought their book on Amazon, right? So verified buyer reviews have a little bit more credibility than unverified. But if they bought it from you directly, you still want them to go do that review for you. It's still good. Press releases are one of my favorite marketing strategies. So you can do press releases locally and press releases online, and they can be helpful to you locally, but they can also be helpful to your online website and the sale of your book. There's virtual book tours. So some people are doing, you'll see them on Facebook. You can do Facebook Lives where you're doing a book tour. So you do your book launch and you do a whole promotion around, we're going to be going live at, and then have a time where you're going live about the book and you're going to be talking about the book. I've seen people do Facebook Live for 6 hours. I don't know how you talk that long. It's a long time to talk. But, you know, it's definitely a strategy that you can do. There's also part of a virtual book tour can be doing, having blog posts and doing guest blog posts kind of around the internet, blogs that are relevant to your topic. And that can help bring more exposure to your book because you're getting introduced to audiences that you're not directly connected to yet. You know, so if your topic is, like if I get featured on a blog with a big business person, that gives me exposure that I didn't have just from my audience. So that can be really good. There's, of course, your own blog. You want to have your own blog author platform. There's a lot of awards, and the best list that I've seen is on Wikipedia. So book awards, there's different categories. You submit your book, and they cost money. So you have to decide if it's a strategy. And sometimes it's $70 to submit your book, $100 to submit your book. So most people that I've worked with have a limited budget for submitting to awards. So you want to make sure that it's a good, it's the right award to submit your book for. And then there's some free ones. So of course, those are always good. And then videos, you can do Facebook Live, YouTube Live, you can do Instagram videos. So video is, you know, a great strategy for increasing traffic and gaining followers and kind of building that community of people that are looking at what you're doing. Press releases. I forgot I had this more in-depth little slide on press releases because I love press releases. So like I said, you want to do online and offline press releases. And you can do a press release about the release of your book. Each book signing event, you're going to want to do a press release. Each book release party, you want to do a press release. Part of what I teach is about having sponsors for your book releases. So you're going to do a press release for each sponsor. If you're speaking, you're going to do a press release. And if you win awards, you can do a press release. And there's probably more things that we could come up with that you could do a press release for. They're always good. Book signings and parties, a great strategy for for the launch of your book. And you can actually, once you've created the event, you can do it over and over again. You just move it to different places. So you're going to do book launch or book kickoff parties or events. You're going to send out invitations. So we're all different, but I would send it out to my email list. I would put it out on all my social media. I would do press releases for Launching Your Dreams, the book event that I did. We got half the people in the room were from press releases. So we had 60 or 70 people in the room. Half of them I didn't know. So half of them I got there myself, half pulled in from press releases, and the press release got me a local radio interview. And so that helps get people to the room too. So sponsors, you can have sponsors, and the sponsors at your book event help pay for the event, help cover the costs of the event, the venue, the food, things like that. And then it's a great opportunity to do video and have somebody there to record you speaking about your book, because then you have a video that you can put up on Facebook, YouTube, and your website. And then your blog. It's good to purchase the book URL. So Yes Marketing Works. We have that URL. I think I still have Launching Your Dreams. So you want to have the URL, even if you don't build a site on it. So I tend to, I used to build a site on each one. Now I tend to forward the URL back to Compass Rose Consulting to that specific page on my website. But you could do a WordPress blog on that URL. So it might make sense if you have different topics to have separate websites. But again, up to you if you want to, if you have the bandwidth for having multiple blogs. You want to connect it back to your Amazon profile. And if you're going to do a blog or a website, you just need to go there regularly and post. So Google likes fresh content. You can take snippets out of your book and post them on your blog. You can take a little piece out of your book and then write something about it. So different ways that you can develop content for your blog that's not totally developing new content necessarily. So it kind of depends on your topic. There might be like things happening in the world that are related to your topic, to your book, that you could blog about. So then it's topic relevant or current events relevant. And then video, like I mentioned, video is powerful. You can create a video series related to your book topic. You can create a YouTube channel that's just focused on your book topic, or it can be a playlist on your channel. And then that YouTube's owned by Google, so it's good to play on Google. So when you post a video, you want to share it over to your Google Plus or your Google Business. I hear rumors that Google Plus is going to go away, but Google Business is going to be there, so you want to share it there. And then book reviews. So pretty much what I said earlier, you don't want to pay people to review your book. You can have friends and family review your book, colleagues. You can post in your Facebook groups, ask people for reviews, and you can give the book away for reviews. So we didn't really talk about this, but if you're publishing on Amazon, there's ways to do book giveaways on Amazon, and that helps get more people with your book in their hand that can then come back and give you a review for it. And you're looking for 4- and 5-star reviews, optimally. Come on, there we go. And then awards, it's a great PR opportunity. You can add that onto the book cover. You can add it to your book description. You can add it to your blog. All those great things, benefits of getting an award for your book. And yeah. Any thoughts, comments, questions about awards or kind of the different marketing pieces? there's a lot of different pieces that you can definitely do to help promote the exposure of your book. So those are like the main components that I see to getting your book published, written, published, and then the marketing. And those are the kind of 3 components that I work with people on. And you can definitely take this information and, you know, put your plan together for how you're going to work your book and get it done, and end up with a great published document or ebook, or however you decide to do it. I did want to share with you about my book publishing boot camp. We offer it twice a year, in the summer and in the winter. And excuse me, this summer we had a small group that came together for 6 weeks, and those people are all have books in process that they're working on getting done. And I'm opening it up for the winter session in January. And so if it's all right, I'd just like to tell you a little bit about it. It's kind of diving deeper on everything we talked about here. It has those three main sections of book writing, book publishing, book marketing. And we look at each of those over 2 sessions, where we look at brainstorming the topics for the book and the goal of the book. And then you're going to be holding pretty much all of that session to the 30-day book writing plan. The handout that I'm giving you is a big chunk of that session, but we look at ways of writing the book and how you overcome obstacles to writing your book. And then the book publishing, we go deeper into the options for printing and how to do it in a self-publishing way that looks really professional, and companies to work with and the resources to access for that. And then the same with the ebook, how to get your ebook formatted correctly for the different platforms that we all need to publish on. And then the book marketing piece, we look at the author platform in the first part of that, and then we look at how to create buzz with the book signing events and publicity and press releases. And we kind of just dive deeper and give you more resources on how to plan that book event and how to plan the book signing events and press release templates and how to get that publicity for the book. So if you're interested at all in joining the boot camp, it's going to start off on January 10th. Meets on Thursday, I think it's a Thursday mornings, and each session has a workbook, and then the videos are recorded using Zoom like this. The last session was very interactive, lots of conversation about where everybody was, and I tend to facilitate the group so that we do a check-in at the beginning and we hear how everybody's doing on their project, and then go through that session and create some action plans for the next session. And so it's a fun course, and you get to meet other authors. We have a little Facebook group for people to connect us on Facebook and collaborate, and the last group people got contact info and that kind of stuff. So if you're interested, writemybook.club is the domain that I'll send you to that page, and would love to have you consider being there. So I'd just like to wrap up with kind of a where you are, what you got out of today, and what you're next action is for moving your book forward. So maybe we can just do that kind of check out. We did a little check in, and we'll do a check out as well. So Mary or Susan, I see Lisa had to go.
Excuse me, Donna, if I may,
Yep.
you know, can we just ask you with the books that you've written, maybe some of what you found was really great, and maybe a couple of the obstacles that you felt that you had to overcome, you know, in writing your books, to share with us?
Definitely.
Okay.
It's always hard to kind of see the obstacles after you've got them done. So I'll talk about the obstacles I have right now, because I'm working on 2 books. So I think sometimes you feel overwhelmed by the book, and then procrastination is always a big obstacle. It's the project that can get put on the shelf while other things kind of take over your day-to-day life or other parts of your business. That'll get kind of put off. I know for me, with launching your dreams, once I get into the project, like it starts, like it's kind of like getting into the flow of energy for a project. It starts moving faster. And so it's getting past that initial, like putting it off or whatever that initial obstacle is, at least for me, and getting it moving. That's why I like that, like chunking it down into pieces that are like really doable. You know, so my one project right now is chunked down so I could spend 20 minutes to a half hour on it and make progress. You know, it's not like that big chunk of time that you need 3 hours to make progress. You know, so I think if you can create a plan where you can chunk it down to make progress, that's good. I think the other thing that's important is to not, like, I think we can get into a thing of, like, well, I didn't do what I said I was going to do yesterday, so, like, the whole plan is scrapped, and, you know, like, you kind of, like, do this whole guilt trip on yourself of, like, I blew that, you know, like, I just started a plan for myself to work out every day, so I've done it 2 days, and I didn't do it today. And so I'm like, you know, so it's like you have to work to not be like, well, I blew that one day. The day's not over yet, so there's still hope. But to not like throw out the whole plan because you fell off the track one day or you fell off one day, you know, so we strive for this kind of perfection in ourselves, and you know, we forgive our kids and our partners and people all in our lives for imperfection, and then when it comes to ourselves, there's a higher standard or something, and we need to just like forgive ourselves, let it go, and pick it up the next day, or you know, and keep it moving, and not get in that kind of trap of I blew it, so I can't do it. Does that answer? Great. Mary, did you have any? Wait, let me unmute you. Go ahead.
So, you know, I told you I had written most of a year of prayer, a prayer a day. And while we were talking, it became very clear to me that I have to put both books, I have to do 2 books. So I have to do the prayer book, but I also need to tell my story, because I think without that, the prayer book kind of just sitting there and not having as much meaning. So I think it's, for me, it's a 2. And I got a title, which is called Following the Angel Feathers. So, and I know you talked about keywords, but anyway. So anyway, I'm excited. I have not written steadily in a long time. Probably this last year, I have not written much. And I really feel the call to get back to that. And so I'm excited about going into the winter months, which are, you know, a little bit more kind of feeling like you want to kind of curl up and get that writing out there. So thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
definitely. I love the
Yeah.
title.
Yeah,
You know, and for you, angel work is what you do. So angel's one of your keywords, right?
exactly. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yep.
so you've got it there. And day books are challenging. So it's great. It's great to be working on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been working with, my mom has been working on a day book for a long time now.
Yeah, I mean, I have probably 30 days to finish,
Yeah,
and I put it away and I haven't gotten it out.
yeah,
So, and I need to go back through it, editing, of course,
yeah,
you know, but one of my things is I like to handwrite. I don't know why, but the prayer book is all handwritten. So that just seems to put another level to me that now I have to get that in a typewritten form, I'm sure.
right.
But so anyway, so lots of work, but fun work. And I think this makes sense too, because I feel like I'm at a level where I do want to take my work to another level. And I can see the importance of having some written word out there about what it is I do and how it's happened. Because every time I tell my story, people become enthralled.
Yeah,
So I need it. This needs to happen. And I get it. So
yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
So I'll have to see about the boot camp. I don't know if I'm quite ready for that yet, but I want to download the workbook and then I'll make my choice.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I'll be
Yeah.
adding this recording into that members area where the workbook is. So
Oh, great, great.
it'll be there as well.
Super.
For transcribing your prayers, you know, like one option would be to have somebody else do all that data entry for you.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Fiverr.com is a place where you might be able to find somebody inexpensively, and then you would just have to scan the documents. So Fiverr with 2 R's started off that everything on Fiverr was $5.
Right.
You know, so I think everything on Fiverr starts at $5, but usually it costs you more than that now.
Right. But that might be worth it. Yeah.
But there's still people on there that would be pretty reasonable that you could find on there.
Right. Good.
That might
Cool.
help with that, because that
That kind of like overwhelms me. And I think if I start writing the other book, I would definitely do it on the computer. Just because. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's definitely something about like that connection.
Right. To me, it's an art form. I don't know why I say it that way, but it's an art form that, you know,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that it is. And I think that it's something that our kids in their technology world are losing. You know, there's something, there's research about kids that handwrite notes do better than kids that are typing their notes like in class.
Right.
You know, because I think it's just a different connection. Maybe our brains will rewire as we evolve with technology, and it'll be different. But yeah, I think there's really famous authors that have handwritten their books. So definitely.
I think Wayne Dyer handwrote his.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, I think Harry Potter was, but I could be wrong about that, so I'm not going to swear to that.
Yeah.
But
so thank you. Today was great. I appreciate it. It was
good. Well, thank you. It was great to have you both here. I really appreciate it. And let me know if you have questions or anything. Just feel free to reach out via email or on all the different platforms that we have. It would be
Okay.
great. I'm
Super.
glad to answer questions. So thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.